Hi, this video uses TWC's demo platform to give an in-depth tutorial of how to use all the functionality within the NAM- section of the SmartView platform. Please note our demo platform uses fake data, so any sales results shown in this video are not real. The functionality on all our clients' platforms is largely the same. The key difference is the branding is tailored to each client, and there'll be some small variances on which pages are displayed. We will cover all the options in this video to help you navigate all of our platforms. For the best browsing experience, please use Google Chrome to log into our platform. Then, after logging in, select NAM- from the page options in front of you. The NAM- pages are laid out logically from left to right along the menu bar, taking product data to be like a funnel. The widest part of the data or funnel is product department or category, and the data then refines down through supplier, brand, to the narrowest point, which is SKU or product information. NAM- is exactly the same. The widest read of the data, department or category, is on the left-hand side, and the narrowest part is on the right, SKU passing through supplier and brand in between. Each page looks the same, so you don't have to take too much time deciphering the layout every time you land on a page. Depending on whether you're on category, supplier, brand or product performance, there'll be a data table on the left-hand side of the page reporting ranked sales this year, sorted high to low at the bottom with total underneath. Each line on the table's this year's sales is divided by the total at the bottom to calculate share of sales. Share is also reflected in the roundel or donut chart on the right-hand side of the page, and the view in the roundel changes depending on where you hover your mouse over the chart. Back on the data table, on the left, year-on-year percentage change is also shown for each line, including the total at the bottom, so that each line will be benchmarked against the total of your selection. Working our way through the various filters on NAM-, from the top, the site defaults to like for like. This means that when you're loading data, if you have a day's sales missing for the previous year, the same day will be removed this year so that sales are reported like for like. There is the option to switch this to absolute, which means that it will show all sales as loaded. The next drop-down is unit of measurement. Standard measures for wholesale shipments are case, volume and sales value. Some of the clients also report in retail units as well as standard measures such as hectolitres in beer, 9 litres in spirits or sticks in tobacco. These are available upon request. When you land on a page in NAM-, it will default to value sales. The next drop-down is time frame. Most of our NAM- pages are showing year-on-year performance for a fixed time frame. When you land on a page, it will default to last 4 weeks versus prior year. By clicking on the drop-down, you can also select MAT or 52 weeks, calendar year to date or 13 weeks year-on-year. We also have rolling time frames, so you can also see 4 weeks versus immediately preceding prior 4 weeks, 13 weeks rolling and 52 weeks rolling. Some of our clients also offer the option to report sales against their own financial year, whole prior financial year versus financial year to date, so you can see the shortfall and financial year to date last year versus the same time frame this year for true financial year-on-year to the same time point. Coming to the drop down below this, if you're on a platform that only reports wholesale shipments, all sales are defaulted to only show wholesale sales out. If you're on one of our dual platforms that reports retail and wholesale sales, you can use this drop down to toggle between wholesale and retail sales. Please note that if you have selected retail sales, the unit of measures for sales automatically changes from cases to retail units. Next to this section, if you're on our retail reporting platform, you have the option to select or multi-select individual accounts to view wholesale or retail sales just to this defined group of stores. Note that once you have stores selected in this box, they remain selected when you move to another page. Below the drop-down for wholesale and retail sales and individual stores, you then have the product and customer type filters. Depending on your level of access, you're able to filter the data into subcategories, particular brands or suppliers, and also by the customer hierarchy of the operator whose sales you're reviewing. For example, by region or fascia, or by company owned if relevant. Whenever you select from any of the drop-downs, you have to click on the refresh button to activate your selection and return the relevant filters or views. Next to the refresh button, you have the export button, which allows you to drop data out into predefined PDFs or into Excel. If you want to include data in a presentation, the site screenshots really well if you put it into full screen mode and scroll to the selection you want to include. Simply use the print screen option on your computer, then Ctrl+V to paste it straight into your PowerPoint, and you can then crop. Functionality is the same for category performance, supplier performance, brand performance, and product performance. Your use of the product filters at the top of the page may vary according to the page you're on. For example, filtering on brand is less useful on the category performance page than it is when you're on the product performance page, where you might want to filter onto all SKUs for just one brand. Equally, if you're on the brand performance page, you might want to filter into supplier so that you can return all brands produced by one supplier. One thing to note on product performance is the inclusion of an additional drop-down that defaults to parent. This is for wholesalers who sell a lot of price mark pack. Parent groups all price mark and plain pack together, whereas when you select child, it will separate price mark and plain pack and affix STD onto the end of any plain pack SKUs and PMP onto the end of price mark product. For buying groups, it is not possible to report the individual price mark retail price points separately due to the complexity of the data cleansing we have to undertake for multiple members' data.
I'll now cover the remaining pages on Namdash.
If you're viewing a buying group platform, you'll have a page called Wholesaler Performance. This will report wholesale shipments by member, ranked largest to smallest, and again, you can change the view by using the filters described previously. This allows you fast access to member sales by category, supplier, or brand. If you're on a single operator platform such as CJ Lang, this page is not relevant and therefore unavailable. Some clients report sales by customer channel or business type, where this data is available to them. This allows you to view wholesale sales by each customer channel the client sells to. As with other Namdash pages, it will show you year-on-year performance and share of sales, in this case by customer type. Again, you can use the filters to look at category, supplier, brand or member if you're on a buy-in group platform, and there is a drop-down box that allows you to multi-select types of customers so you can limit the view to a subset of customer channels in the results set. Moving on to SKU Tracker. This page will report weekly sales by SKU for 52 weeks, starting with the latest week's sales and working back. You need to type in the product description for the SKU you want to report on. To activate this, you might need to enter in the category and subcategory details for where the product sits before you are able to type into the product description box. You can type into the product box to refine your search or scroll through each product entry. Once you've selected your product, the query will return a line chart at the top of the page. This shows the distinct count of customers who purchased by week or distribution, as well as the number of cases sold. These metrics are reported on separate axes. Below the line chart is a data table to show by week value and volume divided by customer count to give you an average rate of sale for each week. Not all clients report customer count on this page, but most do. If you're on one of our dashboards that simultaneously reports wholesale shipments and retail sales, your data is initially returned in wholesale sales, but you can change the drop-down box to show retail sales. On this page, when retail sales is selected, the customer count row on the data table at the bottom is the number of stores that sold the item by week. You can put up to 3 products into the SKU Tracker search, and you can click to hide products on the results if you want to simplify the chart. The Best Sellers page allows the user to identify products that are top sellers and/or fastest growers. This page only highlights products that are an established base rate of sale, but is particularly useful for identifying products that are coming up fastest through the ranks due to increased sales. The page defaults on the drop-down to Best Sellers, but if you change the drop-down to Fastest Growers and use the category filters to segment the results, this report can show you high growth lines. A star is used in the final 2 columns in the results set to show if it is a top-selling SKU and/or a fastest growing line. A star in both columns means this is a key line. A new page is gradually being added to our platform called Product Search. We had received feedback that if you're a new user to our platforms, it's not always simple to identify which subcategory a product sits in, and there was also no quick route via Namdash to look at SKU level sales by member on our buying group platforms. Product Search solves both these use cases. Type in the details of the product you're interested in, and it will return any SKUs similar to the text you typed, how the product is categorized, as well as what brand and supplier it is assigned to. If you're on a single operator platform, it will then report total sales for that product for the time frame selected on the drop-down. It defaults to 4 weeks but can be changed. However, if you're on one of our buying group platforms, it will report sales by member for the product. This page is also useful if you've been on the product performance page and noticed unexpected sales performance for a product and want to see if it's being driven by one member. You can click into Product Search and this page will tell you. Some of our clients have a section in Namdash called Supplier Engagement Reporting. This section has been designed to enable a supplier or a buyer to understand the drivers and/or drains on that supplier's performance. This is a detailed tool. It's not quite a full category review, but pretty close. So it's the kind of functionality you'll need to dedicate a bit of time to if you want to get the most out of it. You land into the KPI page. This is page 1 of 7 pages in this section of the dashboard, and each page has various click-throughs. Step 1 is to pick your universe. It's best to go to at least subcategory level, and this tool is particularly useful for reviewing suppliers with reasonable share because the opportunities presented will be more achievable and trends will be directly impacting the supplier's performance and vice versa. You can choose varying timeframes for this report, but MAT is recommended. Be warned that this page returns a great deal of data. Please be patient while the report runs, as it is pulling back a lot of information for you. You'll need to wait a few minutes for your results to appear. The first bar chart to be displayed shows what's driving the supplier's year-on-year performance. At a top-line level, more positive than negative, then the supplier is in growth. The bigger the segments on the bar chart, the more those factors are driving growth or decline. The tables beneath this bar chart then look in more detail at each of these drivers and/or drains. The table beneath this then looks at how year-on-year value and volume performance for the category and the supplier benchmark. The correlation between the supplier's performance and the category on year-on-year volume and value will determine whether the supplier is growing or losing share. For example, if the category is growing faster than the supplier, then share is being lost. The next table reviews customer distribution. How many customers are buying in the category versus the supplier's portfolio? Again, what is the comparison? Is the supplier in line with the category trend, outperforming it, or underperforming? The next table considers pricing. How has category pricing moved, and is the supplier in line? Is price driving value growth or contributing to declines? And finally, we look at rate of sale. How is order frequency and cases per order holding up versus prior year and versus the category? At this point, you should have a clear view on whether the supplier is in growth, level, or in decline year on year. By how much, and what are the drivers of this performance? Now you can dig into performance in more detail on other pages. Firstly, look at the time frame. The second button on the left is year-on-year charts. This allows you to see whether the year-on-year performance is being driven by some short activity or is a long-term trend that is repeating week on week or month on month. Next, you might want to consider who is gaining share and who is losing share. You can look at a supplier level or a brand level by clicking on the tabs to the left of the report. Within this section, you can look at the performance of your competitive set and who else is driving performance. You can assess this at a total supplier level or at a brand level. You can change the sort order by clicking on the column headers on both pages. Within brand, in the Drivers of Performance tab, you can look at a comparison of the performance drivers for other brands. So, for example, does a competitor brand have a wider distribution or rate of sale, or is it growing these members faster year on year? Within Supplier, we have created an opportunity calculator. This enables you to calculate size of prize if you target a particular growth metric such as customer penetration, rate of sale, or average price. By increasing one or more of these metrics, the calculator will show you what this will deliver back in overall sales volume, but also in incremental value. The numbers on the right-hand side of the table will change each time you change a metric. Looking back at the buttons on the right-hand side, you can also identify opportunity across subcategories and also for buying group dashboards across members. The subcategory page will only work if you have selected your universe at the beginning of the session to report at one of the higher category levels. For example, in soft drinks, if I selected to view a supplier within Drink Now, sports drinks, there is no layer below this, so I cannot assess subcategory opportunity because I am in the lowest level. However, if I had selected to view a supplier drink within Drink Now, Sports and Energy, the subcategory page becomes useful because I can look across the subcategories within sports and energy, so things like glucose, stimulation and sport. On this page, you will see which subcategories are winning and how the supplier compares against this. On our buying group dashboards, the member page will allow you to check how each member is performing and benchmark the supplier against this. On both these pages, there is a column for fair share opportunity. This calculates whether the supplier has more or less share of the subcategory or member than the average share. For example, if a supplier has a 10% share of a category overall, but an 8% share of a subcategory, we say that they undertrade in that category by 2 percentage points. Equally, if a supplier has a 10% share of a category, but has 12% share in a certain member, we say that they overtrade in that member. The growth opportunity calculates the sales value available if a supplier is undertrading in a category or member and can close that percentage gap.
So that just about covers all of the NAMDASH functionality you're likely to need on any of our SmartView platforms. Before we close, just some final pointers to help improve your experience.
In the top right corner of the platform screen, you will see the outline of a human head. Click in here for our support section. In here, you'll find a breakdown of our week numbers and how they correlate to dates, as well as full category structure for the platform you are viewing. There's also a section for reporting support queries and a user guide. Finally, when working with product data, you'll need the exact product description if you're searching for sales for a specific SKU. It's sometimes quicker to copy the description from one of the SmartView pages and then paste it into the search bar of the page you're using than manually scrolling through the list of products. And one more thing, please remember this data is commercially sensitive. Please protect your username and password and do not share them. And please do not share the data except with the wholesaler who supplied it to you.